We set up teams. So we had an outreach team, we had a logistics and inventory team, and we had a communications team. It was policy and outreach, logistics and inventory, and communication. And for a while, those teams had pretty clear different tasks to get going, but at a certain point, probably around March, we really needed to come together and be working, those teams working much more closely with each other, because policy and outreach can start to look a lot like logistics and inventory. It's sort of sometimes hard to separate logistics and policy. And so, even trying to think of, did we want to set up any kind of measures for sustainability, like, a limit of blank per person, which, not that there would be any way of enforcing it, but sort of a guideline. And we chose not to do that. And so there were just so many conversations that we had to have as a team, so many conversations that each team needed to have with other people, whether it was the team coordinating with Ms. Fox in social work to see, would that work? Is that something that we could do? Our communication team communicating with the chess communication team, the outreach team, we're reaching out to all of those different groups, and also having meetings. So one of the things that folks did was connect with Feed the Pack and just sort of ask, like, what are your tips for best practice for this? So that they were having those conversations and learning from people who have more experience with that. So yes, all of those. So they did all of that, sort of going out, doing that work individually, and then also bringing that back and having those conversations across teams to make sure that we were figuring out the best way to set this up. And it took the whole semester to be able to figure out the infrastructure of it, communicating with relevant partners, how do we go about stocking it for the first time? We tried a whole bunch of different ideas. One of the things that you don't see in a finished product are all of the different things that you tried that didn't work. And I'm really proud of how broad the scholars thought and all the different connections that they tried to make. Ultimately, the one that we ended up doing was worked with department heads to set up satellite food donation places, and really ran a very short, like, we're stocking next week, here's a 1-week drive, but we have left those donation sites so that they can continue to be used. And again, we can imagine other different ways of doing that, but that was what ended up working. And so getting it stocked, getting it set up, developing infrastructure to be able to hand it off to social work students.